myth, urban legend, folk tales, mystery, supernatural, fairy tale, history, mystical, English folk tales, The Green Children of Woolpit. This story begins in a region in England, namely Woolpit. In the 12th century AD, a farmer who was harvesting beans in his field saw two boys and a girl sitting on the edge of a ditch he had made to trap wolves. The skin of the two children was green, their clothes were strange, and their speech was not understood by anyone. Eventually, the two children were taken to the home of Woolpit landowner Sir Richard D. Kane and Wilkes. Arriving at Sir Richard's house, the two children were treated to bread. However, even though they looked hungry, they didn't want to touch the bread at all. Ultimately, because of both didn't want to eat the bread provided, the villagers brought them freshly harvested beans. The two children wanted to eat beans harvested from the fields and survived for months just by eating beans until finally they could eat bread. Not long after, the two of them were able to adapt to the food of the Woolpit people. The boy fell ill and died, while the girl was still in good health, and finally, without knowing the cause, the girl's skin color changed to the color of human skin in general. The girl was then taught to speak English, and after being considered an adult, she married a man from King's Lynn, Norfolk. According to the story circulating, the girl finally had a name, Agnes Bear, and the man who married her was an ambassador to Henry II. After Agnes was able to speak English well, she began to tell about where she lived, how and what her birthplace was like. Agnes, who looked like an ordinary Woolpit resident, told about her homeland and origins. A city called St. Martin. The city seemed to be in an underground world. There was no sun that shone as brightly as in Woolpit, and all the residents' skin is green. Agnes Barr said that when she first started, it was at Woolpit. At that time, she and her brother were guarding their father's livestock until they arrived in front of a cave. Then she and her brothers entered the cave. They walked through the darkness for a long time until they finally came out and saw bright sunlight that surprised them. That's when she and her brother first arrived in Woolpit. Next story. Goblin. In a land thick with an aura of darkness and mystery, in the depths of lush forests and hidden caves, there lived a little creature who was a little scary and mischievous. Goblins. In British mythology, goblins are often considered evil creatures. They live in dark and remote places. With their small bodies and grinning faces, goblins inspire anxiety and fear. They are known as creatures who like to create problems and chaos. They like to annoy humans in various ways, such as stealing valuables, destroying plants, and making strange noises. In several stories, goblins are often identified as guardians of treasures in hidden caves. They guard treasures with great hatred, and they can mislead adventurers who dare to look for these treasures. An adventurer's courage is often tested by tricks and illusions created by cunning goblins But not everything about goblins depicts them as completely evil creatures. Several narratives highlight another side of the goblin, where he can be a protector of the forest, or in other words, goblins are creatures who are friends with nature. Goblins can help people who treat nature with respect and wisdom. Next story. Merlin, the Wise Wizard. In another English legend, there was a wise wizard named Merlin. It is said that he was born from a woman who was related to a man from the mysterious demon spirit group. That's why Merlin has extraordinary magical powers. He can predict the future, change his form, control nature, and communicate with animals. One of the most famous stories about Merlin is when he helped King Arthur find the legendary sword Excalibur. Merlin helps King Arthur to remove the sword Excalibur, which is stuck in a large rock. And this shows that Arthur is the rightful king of Britannia. Merlin later became King Arthur's advisor, assisting him in various missions and battles against his enemies. Merlin is also involved in the search for the Holy Grail. The Grail is believed to have miraculous powers. Merlin provides guidance and assistance to the Knights of the Round Table who are trying to find the Holy Grail. The next story tells, Merlin fell in love with a woman named Nimue, also known as the Lady of the Lake. Nimue is a woman who learned magic from Merlin, but after she mastered all of Merlin's magic, she betrayed Merlin. Nimue locked Merlin in a cave, closing it with a powerful magic spell so that Merlin couldn't open it. Merlin is trapped in the cave and continues to live in solitude and loneliness. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so we can stay together.